Well, it says we're live, Brent.
Okay, let's do it.
Well, hopefully we can do this for an hour and a half. We're going to do 45 minutes on each channel. We're going to talk for that long, but we're only actually each talking half the time.
Yeah.
Should be doable. We'll start in about 32 seconds. I'm just going to check to make sure everything's working on my screen here with my earbuds in. It's good to see Tanya and Amina and Mahmoud, Bear Vilson. Dave's here to moderate. That's cool as well.
I thought Dave might have lived in your house.
No.
So
no
I was
Dave
hoping
here.
to meet Dave. I have yet to see him.
No. Hey. Starting in 8 seconds. It's working. It's working great. That's what we want. I need to make sure I click the right screen here. Hi, everybody. Welcome to this live lesson. If you remember a few months ago, maybe longer, when I said in a live stream, Brent, you're welcome to come here and you can sit right beside me and we'll do a live stream. And
here I am.
He's here. And he's actually been here all day. You've actually been in Canada since when?
Since yesterday.
About
noon, yeah. I'm still getting used to Canada. It's a little bit different.
It's a little bit different. Yes. We have no problem understanding each other though.
No.
It's no problem at all. So no secrets here. We went to Niagara Falls this morning. What did we do?
What did we do?
We
zip-lined.
We
zip-lined. And both of us are not crazy about heights.
No.
So we really challenged ourselves.
Yes.
And I don't want to spoil what happened, but
we're still here. It went well.
But there were a couple hiccups. Like people should tune in because it got crazy.
So what we'll do is we have lots of footage, GoPro footage as well, and we'll both put together a video probably a week before you see it, and it'll come out on both our channels. If you want to see two English teachers from YouTube ziplining in Niagara Falls, that's coming out at some point.
And you know what I was really proud of?
What's that?
That neither of us said anything as we were flying through the air that had to be beeped out.
Yeah, no edits needed. No. I did scream a little bit. I think I said, "Woo!" That's not screaming.
No.
It was joy, I think. Anyways, let me introduce what we're doing here. This is a live English Q&A session. If you are here, please use the chat for fun English conversations with each other. There is a link to a form below, and you can submit a question, and Brent and I will do our best to try and answer it. Please don't ask questions in the chat. There will be too many people at some point. We have 191 viewers now. There might be more. But you might be wondering, maybe in your country it's really late or it's 2 a.m. and you're like, why are they doing the live stream now? Well, we're doing 4. Okay, so we're doing 1 now on my channel. In 45 minutes, we're going to go over to Brent's channel. There's actually another table right there with Brent's equipment. Tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to do another one on my channel, and then we're going to move over to Brent's channel. So depending on what time zone you're in, hopefully that works for you.
Yeah, hopefully. And if not, you can always watch on replay.
Yeah, and hopefully we don't lose our voices from the screaming this morning on the zip line and doing this live stream.
Now, sometimes I like to make bold predictions.
Okay, go.
Okay, but with the two of us here, I am going to say that there is no English question that we can't answer.
We'll see. I'll just say, well, this is an easy one. I'll let Brent answer it if I don't know the answer.
Okay, perfect. How can we go wrong? This is going to be amazing.
I think it should be. So again, there will be a link in the chat that you can use to ask a question, and it's also in the description below. We're going to get the first question on the screen here. And it's from Andre Padron. Sorry, the questions are kind of little and over here, but we had to make room for 2 people.
It was either that or block my face, which
yes.
Some people might have wanted to block my face.
Yes. So it is having or to have a valid passport makes things easier. So I would say having a valid passport makes things easier. We don't really use the to. Like if I was reading like an instructions for visiting the US, it would probably say having a valid passport makes things easier. Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. And I just used my passport yesterday to get into Canada. If I didn't have that passport, I could not come. So that when I packed for this trip, that was the first thing I packed. It was the only way I could get across the border.
Yeah, I can't travel without one.
No.
I'm going to adjust the question here. And it says, let me see, from Unsel. And he says, welcome, Brent. That's nice.
Thanks, Unsel.
How did you meet each other? And as two young souls who have caught up with the innovations of their time, could you have imagined that your YouTube journey would reach this level? You go first.
Okay, I will go first. Is he? Are we sure that he has the right two people?
Yeah, we're the young people.
Young?
You can tell.
All right. Well,
they can obviously tell that we're young people.
So basically, when I got into YouTube about 3 years ago, I saw Bob the Canadian. He was absolutely killing it on YouTube.
Right.
And I thought, how can I get knowledge from this person? So that is why I go to almost all of his live streams in the chat. So basically, I have been stealing from Bob the Canadian for about 3 years.
Stealing in a way, but I think when you're in the chat, we were talking this morning, it's very helpful for my viewers when there's an English teacher in the chat as well. So it's kind of a give and take, I think. I think we both benefit from it. How did we meet each other on YouTube? When did we meet in real life? Not until about 12 hours ago. So I drove to Niagara Falls and there was this guy, he was actually sitting on the side of the road in front of his, where he was staying. And I pulled up. I don't think he knew it was me at first. No. And then all of a sudden he waved and we said hi and we spent the morning together. And then took a bit of a break. I had to do some stuff at home. And then Brent came a few hours ago and we set up to do this live stream. So that's the real life.
Maybe I can teach a term here, glare. So when you have a mirrored surface, or we call it a windshield in the United States or a windscreen in England, you call it windshield here?
Windshield, yeah.
Okay.
The front of the vehicle.
And there's the sun or light is hitting it in a certain way. I could not see who the driver was.
Right.
It was just somebody pulling up in a van. And I had flashbacks to childhood where we both grew up in the 80s. Sometimes people would drive in the neighborhood and try to lure people.
You were like, candy. Who is this guy? But then he finally saw me and waved and it was all good. The last part though, could you have imagined that your YouTube journey would reach this level? I'm going to speak for both of us. We're both very happy with where we've gotten to and looking forward to doing more of this. I don't think when I finished teachers college that I even had a glimmer of the future. I didn't know YouTube was going to become a thing and that you could teach on YouTube. So I don't know where you're at with that, Brent, but
yeah, no, I'm still learning every day, trying to figure things out. It's a pretty difficult thing, all the things that go with YouTube. But no, I guess 3 years ago, I wouldn't think that I would have so many people invested in what I do. But yeah. I need to be humble because I am sitting next to Bob the Canadian. So
yeah, I just started earlier.
Yeah,
that's the only difference.
Yeah. I'm still learning. I learn every live stream from Bob the Canadian.
Yeah. Well, Brent was a little bit like, how much equipment are you setting up for this live stream? It's a lot, but it works usually. So
if you go over to my channel after this, you will see there is a difference in quality technology.
Our teaching quality will be high.
I hope so.
Yeah. Next question.
There's no question we can't answer. So
yeah. Kurdish says, amazing. Two teachers chatting together. I wish a British English teacher be beside you and we could notice the difference in pronunciation. It would be cool. So yes, it would be cool. You would hear a very distinct difference. Brent and I have talked all day. I think there was only one occasion where I might have used a word and Brent didn't know what I meant, or vice versa, but we to each other sound pretty similar. Like he does not sound American to me. What word did you say in the house though?
I think it was a really technical teaching term, like some jargon we might say that only professionals would use.
Yeah.
It was ed tech versus
educational assistant.
Yeah.
So slightly different.
Yeah.
So
can I ask a question
for
the chat?
You have to use the form.
Oh, sorry.
I'm just kidding.
I'm wondering from people watching right now, do you think we have a different accent or do we sound more or less the same?
So let me ask the people who are watching, do we have a similar accent or do we sound more or less the same? Are those the words you said?
I think so.
I was trying to say them the same as you. But let us know in the chat. Do we sound similar? I wonder myself.
I think I do.
Let me see. Let me preview the next question.
Okay, while you're doing that, I live really close to Canada anyway, so my accent might be a bit more Canadian than somebody living in New York or New Jersey.
Yeah, definitely. And my accent, I think Canadian accents are becoming more American. I've mentioned this before because we just watch a lot of American TV and American movies. Like Buffalo, New York is 45 minutes from here. Half of my TV channels are American. So, hey, from Mode. Hi, Mode. Good to see you.
Mode.
There were already a lot of English teachers on social media when you both created your channels. What unique things you thought you could bring to the table and what kept you going?
I can
you
start.
You go first.
Well, I think for me, I'm the only English teacher who has taught English on a roller coaster. I mean, today, I think we are the first 2 English teachers to teach on a zip line.
Probably, yeah.
Teaching in quotation marks.
Yeah. But there's a lot of other things like the screaming going on. It's
Yeah.
not really there wasn't any screaming. It was good.
So yeah, I think I just get out and not behind a whiteboard. So I try to do that, talk to people out in public. I know Bob has done that a few times, but
yeah,
that's a thing that kind of makes us different from many other English teachers. And I'll speak for myself, but I'm old and not that good looking. So that separates me from
you.
I think so. Although when looking at pictures of us today, I thought, well, our faces are quite similar.
We look pretty similar. Yeah, sure.
We're both very good looking.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, we'll go with that. So what unique things do I bring to the table? So I think, as odd as it sounds, because I didn't do this on purpose, my house was loud, so I made videos outside. So often people will comment that how beautiful the sky is, or they like the view behind me. In fact, I was telling Brent today that when I first got this newer camera and it made the background really blurry, people would comment that they couldn't see the background well enough. So I think that's one of the things. And I think the other thing is, both of us, we've been talking in front of students for years. And so talking to a camera, I didn't spend a lot of time building confidence to talk to a camera, because I have classes of 20 or 30 students. I'm not going to say I'm amazing at talking to people, but both of us certainly have years of experience of talking. Our job is basically talking. So that has helped out quite a bit. Thanks for the question, Mode.
And guess what? Nobody will show you that you are boring more quickly than a teenager.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. If they are falling asleep in class, you know,
that's true too.
I need to do something else.
Yeah. So by your instinct is to teach in a way that is engaging, because they do actually fall asleep, and usually quite often. Okay. Can you say this name? I always say Jorge.
Oh, okay. I think that might be Jorge.
Or George. Who knows? How did they meet? So how did we meet? Brent answered this earlier. We met online. Brent showed up in the chat a few years ago. And I told Brent this morning, honestly, at the beginning, I was like, oh, another English teacher in the chat. That's nice. Sometimes, though, English teachers in the chat promote their own channels. But I noticed quickly that Brent just hung out with you guys. He just helped you. He just talked to you. He actually made the live streams better, because there was another English teacher basically helping out and doing cool things in the chat. So we met via the chat you're looking at. That's how we met.
Yeah, more or less, I stalked Bob.
Yeah, I guess in a slight way. But he was around a lot. We talked on Zoom once or twice. We did a live stream together a few months ago on Facebook when I was experimenting with StreamYards. And then we now text each other quite a bit. Okay, just as Brent was planning to come here, we needed to be able to text, and now he's here.
And I should say, obviously, I probably know Bob a little bit better than he knows me, because I do watch a lot of his live streams. But I noticed that we had a lot of similarities, right. So it was fun to watch. It is fun, present tense. I will continue to watch the live streams.
It's like a weird echo. I don't know why that is.
Probably my fault.
Is the audio good, people? Let me know in the chat. Falsey says, are you brothers? No. We're probably not even distantly related if we traced our ancestors, because I'm from mainland Europe. Brent's a combination of Ireland, UK.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, a variety of things. So I guess that's the way it is. So it says, yes, Bob's sound is not perfect, but it's okay. More or less the same accent. Oh, here's from Dave. Let's see. There wasn't an echo at the start, but there is now. I'm not sure what changed. Maybe one of the mics is drifting slowly. That can happen sometimes. I'm not too worried, though. I think they're hearing me through your mic. If I talk like this, they probably won't be able to.
Put up a shield here.
We'll just go with it. It's just for fun anyways. Bob, your voice is doubled.
Oh, no.
Oh. Well, you know what? When you're live, there's no real way to fix that.
No.
So Brent's voice isn't double. Let me listen
Okay.
to Brent for a sec.
Well, while he is listening, maybe I should just talk about something. Hey, I don't suggest you come to Bob's farm. In fact, I suggest you don't. But let me say, this is a beautiful piece of land. You can see the river behind us. No river cam today. It's a little swollen.
Oh, yeah, it's flooded.
Yeah. So that term swollen, you can use when something is a little bit bigger. Right now, the river is swollen. It's bigger than it normally is. If you hit your finger with a hammer and it starts to get bigger, we could say that your finger is swollen.
Yes, definitely. Vitor says, hi, is Brent at your house during his travel or in another place? I think the sense I'm getting from your question is he sleeping over? And the answer is no. He's staying at a hotel. He's at my house right now physically because you can see him sitting beside me. So there's kind of some nuances to your question. So what I think you're saying is Brent staying here for a few days?
Right. Are we having a slumber party tonight?
That's right. He is hanging out during the day, and he's going to head off once we're done these 2 live streams back to his hotel.
I knew enough about Bob's family and how it is quite large that it would be hard for me to find a place to sleep here. So I just booked a few rooms, and I will be doing some videos from those rooms.
I'm just adjusting my mic.
Okay, and I'll keep talking.
I'm trying to point it away.
Because if neither of us are
that'll help,
talking, we call that dead air, and that is very boring for the viewers. So
Yes. Okay. Hafiez. GOAT collab, which means greatest of all time.
Oh.
If you two were smiling and switched bottom half of face, they'd still look the same, including the beards. Can each of you guess each other's heights? So that's a funny story, because this morning I got out of my van, and what did I say?
We're like the exact same height.
Yeah, we're the exact same height. I thought Brent was taller than me. For some reason, he looks taller in his videos. Not by much, but I thought maybe he's 5'11", 6 feet.
That would be great.
5'12".
If I was 6
But
feet, that was my dream.
I looked at him, and his eyes are the same as mine. I'm like, I thought you were taller. He's like, I'm 5'10". I'm like, I'm 5'10". So yeah, we're literally the same height. So, okay, let's see here. Next question is from Dimitri. Hello, cool guys. No questions. Just can't help but notice that Brent has really attractive low tone of voice. Yes, I think your voice is a bit lower. Can't wait to see the footage from a zip line. Have a good one. So I had to interpret what G1 was, but it means good one.
Oh,
That
okay.
would be my guess
I
right
didn't know
there.
that.
So, I can't help but check the audio again.
And while you do that, I'm going to pay Bob another compliment. When I first met him, he was a lot thinner than I knew. And I think you have gotten a little thinner, but I described Bob as svelte.
Yes, svelte.
That might be a very advanced term, but it means like trim. If somebody is described as svelte, they're very like narrow in a good way.
Yes.
Like you could run a couple miles, it looks like, if you had to.
Me?
Yeah, if you were being chased by a bear, I think you could outrun that
Sure.
bear.
I actually ran 5 kilometers a couple weeks ago. I went to a local run and I ran 5 kilometers. I was very slow. I finished last of the runners, but I finished ahead of all the walkers. So that was an achievement.
That's impressive.
For me. Yes. Let's see here. Oh, this is going to be tricky. You said we could answer every question.
Every single
Julianne,
question.
could you please explain the difference of the voiced dental fricative, as in this, and the voiceless fricative in thing, please? So I can't tell you, but I can pronounce those words. So this and thing. Can you say this and thing?
This thing.
So I'm not an expert on pronunciation, and I can't tell you exactly what the difference is. I don't even know the right symbols, like what you're putting in the question. So all I can do is give example sentences. So this is an example sentence of the thing you're asking about. That's mine. Are you good at coming up with sentences?
No, but I would like to answer this question. And
Okay.
I'm going to answer it like this. I bet if you polled, if you asked this question to everyone in the United States and everyone in Canada, the only people that could answer this would be linguists.
Yeah, like some sort of professor of linguistics at a university would be like, well, let me get my whiteboard marker out and explain this. And then they would draw an elaborate diagram for you. So
Which I guess my point is, you do not need to know that to speak English. But
I would agree.
If you're a linguist, cool. But
Yes.
yeah, I don't know. Sorry.
Nanny, I know that asking what is in the box is okay to say, but there is no subject. Shouldn't you say, what is there in the box? Thanks.
No.
It's interesting. So here's how I think both sentences are correct. My shirt keeps sticking to my chair.
Oh.
Both sentences are correct, but not in the way you think. So I would say, what's in the box? Like I would use a contraction. What's in the box? If I was to put there, I would be saying something like, what's there in the box? I would pause, like, because I would be indicating a direction, right? What's there in the box? Not what is there in the box, which is a slightly different connotation. I hope I'm not being confusing, but I would say the first sentence, what's in the box, is the most common way to say that. What's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the cup? What's in the mug? That's what we would say.
Yeah. And I think native English speakers try to say as few words as possible. So, and also you're a cinephile is a person who loves movies. You're a bit of a cinephile, right?
I do like movies, yes.
When you say what's in the box, did that remind you of any movie?
No.
Oh no, Seven?
Oh, with
at the
Brad
end?
Pitt?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't
What's in the
want to
box?
remember that
Okay,
movie.
it's a pretty rough one.
Yeah, you don't want to know what's in the box. That's but yes, yeah,
I just
that
keep
was
hearing Brad Pitt. What's in the box? What's in the
yes,
box?
you don't want to know.
It's a good movie though.
Okay, I think I have a question ready. Do I? Yes. Okay, just to make sure I'm not messing up here. I got that one on the screen. We got 7 in the queue, so we're doing great.
Very fancy here at Learn English with Bob the Canadian.
Yes. Let me pull the question off the screen though, and we're going to pause.
Okay.
So if you're like up at 2 a.m, you're watching this and you're like, why are these guys live streaming when I'm supposed to be sleeping? We are going to do this again tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll do a 45-minute live stream on my channel and then another one on Brent. So I know there's 297 people here. Some of you didn't hear that. So if you need to go to bed, you can go to bed. We're going to do this again tomorrow. So, and if maybe it's 4 a.m, you can sleep another hour and then Brent's live stream will be going in about 25 minutes. Well, don't sleep an hour, sleep half an hour, and then you should get up.
Or I say, if it's 4 a.m. and you're still awake, you're not going to bed anyways. Just
That's right.
Stay here with us and learn some English.
Just keep learning. Okay, next question from Janena. Hello, Bob and Brent. I'm so happy that I made it to this live stream, but I cannot think about any question. But thank you guys for taking your time to teach us. It's no problem.
Yeah, love it.
Back to the question we had about when we started and what keeps us going. I don't know if we answered the keeps us going part, but you guys keep us going. I love comments. I love seeing the chat. I had a viewer once say, the live lesson's cool, but the chat's really cool too. Sometimes I don't listen to you and I just read the chat or chat with people. And that's awesome as well. We're just happy to be able to do something fun with all of you. So let me see here.
All right. And I've always thought that people who go out of their way to learn another language are kind of giving people. They're nice already. So I know a lot of people in Bob's audience, and it seems like he's got great people that tune in each week. And I would say the same about my audience. It's really nice people.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. Mahmood, hi Bob and Brent. So great to see you both together in this live stream. I've waited 2 years for this moment, and I'm a big fan of both of you. Thank you for your hard work. You are very welcome. It's no problem.
Shout out to Mahmoud. I know he is from Mauritania. He's a good guy.
Cool. Jamal, I wish I could speak English fluently like you. What do I do to reach this goal?
All right. Well, my first thing I would say is think about when you first started learning English. You probably weren't able to understand what we were saying. So congratulations on that. Feel good about that. Usually the last part of learning a language is to actually speak it. So you're on the right path. Keep going. I think you have a link to Preply if anybody wants
if
to.
you want to like hire a tutor, you can use Preply. There's a link below. I do think the sooner you start having conversations, the better it is. It does cost money if you do need to hire someone. But I think that one of the ways you reach your goal is make sure you're aware of your progress. Sometimes it can feel like you're not getting anywhere. So knowing how many words you've memorized, or taking a little test that you make yourself, or even, like we said, meeting with someone once a week, they will gauge your progress, and that can be really rewarding. If you're training to run a marathon, you can't run a marathon right away, but you can start to run a little bit and then figure out your progress and then be happy when you can run 5K or 10K, which means kilometers, by the way. 3 miles.
I have no idea what that
3
means
miles
as an
is 5
American.
kilometers. Yeah. So just keep working at it and keep it in balance. Do some reading, writing, listening, speaking. Just work out all of them and it will come.
It takes a really long time. So,
from Augusto from Italy. These are the kinds of ideas that I want for you to have in your mind, or these are the kinds of ideas that I want you to have in your mind. Which one is better? Let me read those again. These are the kinds of ideas that I want for you to have in your mind, or these are the kinds of ideas that I want you to have in your mind. The first one has the for in it.
okay.
I would say they're both correct. I would say the second one.
And I would almost say, hey, these are some things I want you to think about.
Oh yeah, that would definitely
Maybe.
sound better. Here's some things I want you to think about. Like if I was to speak like Bob the teacher in his classroom to a student who's an English speaker, I would say, these are the things I want you to think about. I know that was really fast, but that's what I would say. I wouldn't even use ideas. I would just say, these are the things I want you to think about. But of the two, the first one sounds formal. Like these are the kinds of things that I want for you to have in your mind, or these are the kinds of things that I want you to have in your mind. So yeah. I like your answer better.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, think about these things.
I'm refusing to answer the next one.
No.
It's about grammar. What is the best way to master English grammar? I don't hate grammar. I think it's important, but it is one of my least favorite things to teach.
Yeah. And I would argue that most native English speakers don't really know grammar rules.
No, they don't know where to put commas or
English
things
teachers
like
might, but
Yes.
yeah.
I even don't know where to put commas
Oh, no?
sometimes. Yeah. It looks good here. Just put it there.
It's a little pet peeve of mine. But,
Oh, yeah.
but I would never say anything just because I'm an English teacher. But
Right.
the question, I would say that if you love grammar and if that is going to keep you studying for a long time, do it. But if you are going to study grammar and quit after 10 minutes, leave the grammar for once a month or twice a month. It's not a big deal.
No.
Only when writing, probably.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think too, I always recommend whatever language you speak, find a book that teaches English grammar using your language. So if you speak French, find a book written in French that explains in French how to use English grammar. That can be quite helpful, especially as a beginner. I know for me, when I was learning French, I found a book that explained in English how to use some parts of French grammar. So it can be very helpful to have that as at the get-go. From Eugene, do you guys, or let me fix the question here. Will you guys go to Niagara Falls? The answer is no, but not really. Brent?
Well, we've already been.
Yes.
Yeah, if you're just joining us live right now, we were in Niagara Falls this morning. We did, we already said it once. Should we say it again?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. We went zip lining and we survived, but some crazy things happened along the way.
Yes, it was fun. We had breakfast too. That was nice.
We did, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, next question. Oh, from Gleedson. Hey guys, in your point of view, which skills are more important, like speaking, reading, listening, grammar, etc.? Well, I have a pretty standard answer, so I'll just give it. You should do all of them. I'm very much in favor of learning a language should be something where you do a wide variety of things. So is speaking more important than reading? No. You should be reading, you should be writing, you should be listening, you should be speaking, you should be doing some grammar. I think I repeated something. You should be learning some vocabulary. When people say, which English learning app is best? I'm always like, well, try a bunch. Like do Duolingo for 4 months. And when you're bored with that, try Babbel or one of the other ones. Like, what kind of music should I listen to? All different kinds of music. What books should I read? Books that you can just understand but are a little bit hard. But yeah, you should read everything, do everything. So I don't think kids learn a language from their parents by only hearing one thing or one idea. They hear the word ketchup and shoe and puppy, and it's all life. So your learning should resemble life, I think, with all its variety.
Yeah, perfectly said. Also, it depends on what your goal is for English. If you are looking for a job where you will be writing a lot or reading a lot, maybe focus on that. I think most English learners, the goal is to speak.
Right.
So, but yeah, a variety of ways.
Yeah, and
so you don't get bored.
And don't get stuck on the thing you like the most. I've had that before with French, where I really like listening. So you end up watching a lot of TV and listening to a lot of music, and you feel like you're learning, but then you go and take a test, and then you don't get as good a grades in certain areas because you didn't practice that. So, from Gerson, can you imagine all the YouTuber English teachers in the same live? Bob, Brent, Mike, Vanessa, Ronnie, Luke, Lucy, Arnells, James, etc. Well, I had an idea today. I don't think it's ever going to happen, but there should be an annual YouTuber English teacher convention in Niagara Falls because it's close to me.
Right.
And we had the first one today.
We did.
Only two teachers came, but maybe I'll email some of these teachers and suggest that. Niagara Falls is not a cheap place to stay in the summer, though.
Yeah, I would not pick. I mean, I don't want to hate too much on Niagara Falls, but
it's pricey.
Yeah. It's pricey.
It's great in February when it's cold and snowy and there's hardly any tourists. Then it's cheaper. But...
Oh, I have a question. Do the falls ever freeze over?
Yeah, sometimes. I don't know if they ever freeze and stop or have in my lifetime, but there is a picture of a long time ago, black and white picture where it did freeze.
Okay.
So, but not that I remember any time recently. Lu Kwong, I usually forget the vocabulary. How can I improve my memory and my speaking skill?
Yeah, that's similar to some other questions we've had before. I don't think you should really memorize it unless you're a person that likes lists, then, get those lists going and memorize them, but just read a lot.
Yeah. Watch
a lot, listen a lot, speak a lot.
Use the vocabulary as much as you can after you learn it, and then hear it a lot. So Dave has a comment. He wants to know if will ziplining be mandatory each year at the YouTuber English Teacher Convention?
Oh, I think that needs to be written into the bylaws or something.
Perhaps Dave can help organize the event. We'll hire Dave to be the organizer.
Yeah, Dave, where were you? I specifically asked, hey, Dave, do you want to come ziplining with us? And I think your response was no.
Yeah, Dave's a bot, so it's not physically possible for him to... No, he's a real person. Yuri, well, that doesn't say well. That says a different word. I'm not going to say that word. This is a safe for work live stream.
My eyes are so bad, I can't read that.
What's the difference? Oh, it's the word well, but instead of a W, there's an H at the beginning. There you go.
Okay.
Anyways, what's the difference between no strings attached and no pun intended? I wish you both well. You want to do one? I'll do the other.
Sure. I will start with the easier one. And they're very different. They're not even really related.
No, they don't mean the same thing.
No strings. Yeah, I'll let you do the pun one. That's a bit trickier.
Yeah.
No strings attached means that whatever you are given, you do not have to do anything extra. It's just a gift. But let's say, I will use us in an example.
Yep.
Maybe if we went ziplining, it's probably not going to work out. Maybe if I came to Bob the Canadian's house, like I am now, he said, yes, you can visit me.
But you must bring me gifts and you must bring me stuff.
Well, I was thinking that I might have, because this is a working farm. Yes, I will spend an hour with you for every hour you work on my farm.
Oh, right.
So the string attached would mean I have to do a little something extra to get what I want.
Right.
So be careful with no strings attached. If there are strings attached, you might want to run.
I'm going to cheat. I'm going to cheat with mine. Okay. I've looked it up. No pun intended meaning. No pun intended is a humorous parenthetical comment used to acknowledge one has made a pun or other bit of overly cheesy or clever wordplay. So a pun is when you use a word and it has two meanings. So
dad jokes.
Yeah, the one I thought of was we went ziplining and I was a little zippier than Brent, pun intended. And you'll see when you watch the video, I was a little zippier. So I've used the word zip related to zip line, and it kind of is like a little word joke. And then I say no pun intended, but I actually fully intended that pun.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a weird phrase.
Yeah, it's upper level there.
Let's see. From Miroslav. Hi, Miroslav. If you're the Miroslav in Michigan, hi. I hope you're having a good summer. Miroslav, it's probably unusual to finally meet someone in person after a long time of knowing each other virtually. Are you still getting used to the real versions of yourselves? So I think back to the question about, I think from Mode, about one of the things that have made us successful on YouTube or things that have made us good, maybe good at, I forget the exact question. We are, what you see is what you get. There's no, unless he's good at faking a different personality all day, he's the same person you see on YouTube if you meet him in person. I, however, have a horrible, no,
he's the same guy. Like, as soon as we started talking, it was like, I've known this guy for a while. Yeah. So, yeah, it wasn't like we went into it cold without knowing each other.
Yeah. So I would say it was very similar to meeting someone I had gone to university with or something. Just someone that I knew something about, didn't know all the details of his life because we haven't hung out for a whole day like we did today. But we're definitely the real versions of ourselves.
Yeah, I wanted to be, when we were doing this live lesson, I did want to work in that phrase, what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you did that. But yeah, so what you see is what you get means that person is real. They're not being fake. Yeah. Bob the Canadian is the same Bob the Canadian on camera or off camera.
Right. Except if you're listening to this live stream, there's two of my voices, a little bit. So we're almost done though. We got 10 minutes to go. We're going to go 10 more minutes. In 5 minutes, Brent's going to set up and start his live stream, and I'm going to finish this one off. Once he's live, we're going to feed everyone over to that. We're going to ask Dave to put the link in the chat a few times, and I'll close this one down. But Taffarel says, what time is the sunset in the summer in Canada? I think like now it's 7:30 at night, and it's cloudy, so it's kind of hard to see, but it will be dark, I think, in an hour and a bit. Like when we're doing Brent's live stream, it might be starting to get a little dim towards the end. So, but a month ago it was like 9:30 at night. It's light out really late. You too. And
yeah.
Me. Yeah.
And I think we were talking, I might be even a little further north than you are.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have really long summer days and really short winter nights.
Yeah. Like December 21st is not a nice day for either of us. It's like, you leave for work and it's dark, and at 4 o'clock the sun's gone. It's very short.
Very depressing.
Amran.
I know.
Hello, Bob. Hello, Brent. I'm extremely happy to see you together. You both helped me a lot to improve my English. I am thankful for you. That is awesome. You are an awesome person.
Yeah, Omran, good guy. I know him.
Let's see here. From a student. Let me check. We got 5 questions left.
Okay.
Let's see how we do. A student. What do you think about teachers who promise their students they will be able to speak English fluently within 3 months if they buy their method? So if you've been around long enough, you know that I don't like to say negative things about specific people. I like to keep things very positive. So what I will say, I won't say anything about the teachers. What I will say is, if you had 8 hours a day, 7 days a week for 3 months, you could get pretty far learning a language, but you're going to need more time than that. That's my non-judgmental of other teachers answer. Yeah.
Yeah, and I will just add that if you speak a language that is somewhat close to English, Dutch, Italian, French, you will learn more quickly than if you speak a language that's more distant from English, like Chinese, Mandarin, Russian, Hindi. So the language you speak in your native, the language you speak as a native, is going to depend on how quickly you can learn English.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot.
Especially when phrases like pas du tout or not at all. Like if there's a completely equivalent phrase in the language you're learning, it'll be much easier. Rosa, it's a pleasure to be with both of you together. When do you have to say no to an invitation other than do you use to explain why not? Oh, like how to politely say no to an invitation?
That is a work of art. Yes. I can answer this for Bob the Canadian right now. This man has 5 children. He can always use, I'm just too busy with my children.
Yes, and that is true. I do have 5 children, and I do sometimes legitimately feel quite busy, and will use that as an excuse. You know, I've been driving around all day, or, you know, my kids spent all my money. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I think a polite way is to, if you have to give a reason, give a truthful reason. Stretching the truth is maybe done a bit, but I would say, yeah, just be honest with people. Like, if you don't want to go to a party because you don't like the people there, then don't be brutally honest with them. That means don't say that, but just say, I'm just not into going to a party tonight, or I got a really busy week this week. I'd rather just stay home for the night. Like, by the way, brutally honest, that's a good phrase.
It is a good phrase.
When you're brutally honest, it would be like if someone said, what would be a good example? I can't think of one, but you would say something that maybe would offend someone if you were brutally honest.
You could always ask for a rain check. You could say, hey, I would love to come. I'm a little busy. Can I get a rain check? Ask me again at a later date, and you just hope they never ask you again.
Yes. And then if you really want to learn how to do it, study the British way, because the British are very good at
deflecting,
I think. Yeah. The Dutch, at least the descendants of Dutch immigrants, are very frank and direct. So if you say to someone that I know whose parents originally came from Holland or the Netherlands, if you say you should come over for supper someday, they will literally call you and say, okay, when? Friday? Whereas I think in Britain, if someone said you should come over sometime, they might not actually mean it. They're being polite. So cultural differences.
Yeah, that's I think in Canada as well, but in the United States, we often ask, hey, how are you doing? But in reality, we don't want to hear exactly how you're doing.
No.
Fine. Thanks.
Yeah.
It's just being polite.
Depending on the person.
Yeah.
And depending on the tone, which I don't do a lot of lessons on tone, but if I said to Brent, how you doing? I'm just saying hi. If I said, okay, I have to say this right. How are you doing? Like, that's a different, I don't know if you heard the tone difference. It communicates a number of things. One, I know you well. One, you know me well. 3, we know each other well enough to care about each other's emotions. So I, to Jen, would say, how are you doing today? And that's way different than how are you doing? Totally different question. That's where it gets tricky, right?
Yeah. And I think you emphasized are. How are you doing?
Yes. Yeah.
But at work,
you want to fire up?
Sure. Yeah. So if you do go over to my channel, be prepared. We're not quite as fancy over at Speak English with this guy.
We'll answer your questions.
We will.
Yeah.
Well, it will be a slightly different setup.
I'm going to read this one to you first, though. Volodymyr says, Brent used a word, svelte. According to Bob, is it not an offensive word for Bob? Depends. It might be a word that's used a little more for a female than a male. Svelte. Like, she looks svelte. Can you say the word for a sec?
Sure. Svelte.
I say it more German.
Okay.
I'm like svelte.
Svelte.
Yeah, it sounds different. So I wasn't offended, but possibly it has a more feminine than masculine connotation. Oh, well.
Well,
anyways.
I, for one, would love to be called svelte.
Yes.
Even though I know it's not true.
Okay, I'm going to answer some questions here.
I'm going to do my best to fire up over there.
Okay. From Tanya, Fernando. Yeah, I think our chairs are going to sink in the grass, but that's fine.
That'll be fine.
Do you have any tips to learn French? Well, see, I have an advantage, okay? Number one, in Canada, students... Oh, one sec. I can move this over here now. In Canada, students learn French in school. So by the time you're in grade 9, you've had hundreds of hours of French instruction. And I took French all through high school, so that by the time I was done high school... I'm going to mute that mic and see if it fixes the audio, because I can't stop thinking about it. By the time I finished high school, I knew enough French that I could go to the province of Quebec and I could ask for directions. I could order food. I could buy groceries. I could shop. Like, I could do some normal things in French. I wasn't fluent by any stretch of the imagination. But my tip for learning French would be this: start speaking as soon as you possibly can. I really think that is good advice. Should I check the audio for a sec? I'm going to do that.
Should I fill the air with my speaking?
I muted the mic.
Oh, okay.
So they can't hear you. So here we go. And I think that fixed it. We'll have to figure it out tomorrow. Brent, after you crossed the border, what was the first thing that made you realize that you were in Canada?
I saw some Canadian goose just over the border.
Yeah,
they were
there's
not on the American side.
there's a lot of Canadian geese here. By the way, it's great to see and hear you together. So there you go. Let's see here. Oh yeah, this is a good question. Bob, when are you going to pay Brent's family a visit? So I actually mentioned this to Jen the other day. I said I might drive down there next summer if Brent's home. I might drive down to Maine and we'll see what's up. Do a live stream together from there. Although I'm not bringing all this equipment. That's for sure.
And I do have an extra room and an extra bathroom for you.
There you go. Let's see. John from Brazil, thank you guys for the amazing job you've been doing. Why did you both decide to be teachers? I just like explaining stuff. It's a weird thing. It's a personality trait. When I was a kid, I liked teaching my cousins and my siblings how to play different games. I've just always liked explaining things to people, and teaching for the most part is explaining.
And I wanted the summers off.
And Brent wanted the summers off. Should I do a couple more questions?
Sure.
How close do you think you are?
Super close.
Super close. Hey, Dave, can you go to Brent's channel? And his live stream scheduled. So just find that link and paste it in my chat a few times. That would be great. From Crit, hello, Teacher Bob and Teacher Brent. Do you have to request a visa for visiting Canada? You need your passport. Years ago, you did not. You just needed a birth certificate to go to the United States or to come to Canada. Jen's getting a canopy. She says it might rain. So, hey, when we're done mine, then can you clean up my stuff if I shut it all down? Maybe. Well, we don't have a lot there. Maybe if it rains, come running out and help us. Thank you. Yeah, years ago, you just needed a birth certificate, a couple pieces of ID, and you could cross the border, no problem. And last question, and then I'm going to wrap this one up. Stefano, I have no one to talk to in English. How can I learn to speak on my own? Is there any particular exercise you can recommend? So the internet is amazing. You can find someone to talk to. It will cost money. If you can't do that, record yourself and then listen to your voice. Read out loud. Listen to people on YouTube and then repeat what they say after hitting the pause button. So play a sentence and say what they say. I'm going to, I think
we're ready. Should I go live?
Yeah, go live. That'd be great.
Maybe a little bit.
I think Brent's going live, and I'm going to shut down in a sec. We answered all the questions, Brent.
Good. I think we answered them correctly, right?
Yes.
Welcome, everyone. We are live. I hope the audio is amazing. But you may notice I am sitting in a different area. There is a very
Sorry, I'm just getting Brent's link
behind me. Yes. I'm visiting Bob the Canadian in just a minute. Bob the Canadian will be joining us here. He is just finishing up the live stream on his channel. Natalia,